Okay, hello everybody. This is my continuing war against undesirable people or undesirable attitudes and so on and so forth, which is associated with the New Age and similar movements. There was one particular link that was put on the video where I declared this war. Obviously, it isn't a real war. Okay, there's no bloodshed. No one's being, violently assaulted, and there's no sort of like threats of violence or anything of that nature. It's just me trying to look at some of the ideas other people are coming out with and explaining in my own terms and often off the cuff why I think these ideas are wrong, so that you can get a better understanding as to where I'm coming from, and maybe I can help to enlighten or inform your decisions about the kind of things that you want to either believe or participate in when it comes to any form of occult stroke new age type involvement, taking into account that there's an awful lot of commercialization of this movement, some of which is okay and some of which is not quite so okay. And maybe this will just help you to grow. Now, this one particular link is from a channel which is called Truth Exist Love, all one word but with a capital T, E, and L. This particular video is called Bashar hyphen the Four Laws of Creation hyphen beautiful belch there. Creating your reality hyphen NL sub, whatever that means. I don't know what NL sub actually means. Now, I've gone through the first 1 minute and 8 seconds of the video because that was just a boring introduction with a glowing sort of corporate logo, which is basically like an Illuminati-esque pyramid that was glowing from behind, because obviously everything that glows from behind is either true or spiritual. And this is supposed to be some kind of channeling stuff. So let's have a quick listen and see what this is about. I have not heard this before. This is a totally off-the-cuff performance by myself, the great and glorious, legendary, wonderful, fantastic me. Why do I do that? Here we go.
There are really only 4 laws in creation that...
Right. Just with the opening sentence, we can probably have a bit of a laugh with that, though, can't we? There are really only 4 laws in creation. Well, firstly, that's a presupposition that the universe is created. That is, of course, open to conjecture or belief. And secondly, to say that there are only 4 laws, well, life could be a little more complex than that. There's all kinds of like dimensions and forces and interactions in the universe, so essentially it could be a little more complex. I mean, think about how DNA came about, for crying out loud sake, and think about, evolution with the theory of gravity. I mean, come on. You can't simplify the entire universe that much, unless, of course, your audience is, in fact, very simple.
allow you to experience everything that you experience. Law number 1 is that you exist. Can't do...
That's a law. You exist. Don't break it. That's a law. You exist.
Much about that. Now, when we talk, first of all, about laws, we're not talking about the type of laws that you have on your planet that are, in that sense, arbitrary rules and regulations that can be broken or changed or rewritten or ignored. But the...
So why do you call them laws? And why start off with the presupposition that we exist, and then try and explain the fact that these aren't actually laws, these are something else? When, we all know that we exist. If you don't know that you exist, then basically, what the fucking hell is the point in being? I mean, for fuck's sake.
The idea is even beyond what many of you call laws of physics, because even some of these are only germane to your particular universal reality, and in other...
For that, you'd actually have to prove that there are other realities, or to be able to demonstrate the hypothetical possibility of those realities, and essentially why you believe in them, providing a certain quantity of evidence and or experiences which seem to point in a certain direction. If you provide experiences which seem to point in that particular direction, then essentially you would have to expect that those experiences can then be challenged by other people who may see the world in a different way. So essentially this is still a hard truth claim, and not necessarily a very good hard truth claim.
Dimensions, many of the so-called laws that you have labeled do not really apply. We are talking about real laws, because
Hang on. So the laws of physics aren't real laws according to this chap here. If there are laws of physics, like gravity, electromagnetism, right? The way that, so he's almost like saying reality is unreal. And this, I think, is dangerous, because when you start trying to convince people that reality is unreal, you're taking them away from reality and therefore driving them slightly mad. This is not healthy.
real laws cannot be broken. Cannot be broken. It is
Because, of course, you can break the law of gravity. Of course you can. I mean, most people are flying around at like 1,000 feet, just and never coming down. They just up there, above the clouds or whatever. You're just like, hey, hello, how's it going? Yes, can't come down. No, you don't want to, because if you did, you'll be breaking the laws of gravity. Yes, of course. Yes, and bastard, that isn't it? Yes.
impossible. And it is these four laws that give structure to all of creation. So, as we have said, law number one, you exist. And what that actually means, when taken out to its ultimate logical understanding, is that if you exist now, you always will. And you...
No, that's not actually logical. That's a hypothetical, at best, okay? Yes, there are some strange experiences which seem to imply that there is some kind of reality after death. But on the other hand, we have to be really honest with ourselves when we say that these are just experiences. They may point to something else, but on the other hand, we don't know precisely what they point to, despite the fact that there is correlations and connections to various forms of religious literature. It doesn't necessarily mean to say that any form of religion is necessarily true or correct. And this is one of the biggest problems with New Age religions, because they take a experience and they then say, well, that's proof. That's proof. I now know I will live forever. I'm living forever. Yes, I've had a strange experience of Godhead. Yes, therefore I've contacted God, and therefore I am divine. Yes, yes, I know it as a fact because I've experienced it. Ha ha ha. Bottom line is no. All right. We have these experiences. There has to be more research done, proper research. The closest we've seen so far is what Dean Radin has done, but even his meta-analysis has more questions, and it is controversial. And when something's controversial, it's difficult. I mean, we don't have the same controversy about the quantum theory of gravity that we have about the possibility of survival after physical death. Do we now? All right? Because one is a little more certain, and the other one is a little more, well, we don't know, but there's these experiences which point to it. So you can't say that because you exist now, you're always going to exist. Right? You just can't do that. And if you do, then essentially you're already being deceptive to people. You're actually being quite destructive in terms of people's reasoning ability, because you're not, going into how to reason. You're merely saying in a very eloquent manner and expressed in this quasi-religious environment, therefore in a position of authority, that you are true and correct. Alright, this reminds me of the Milgram experiments, when the guy received electric shocks. It was basically a person who is in a position of authority, or appears to be in a position of authority, can have the effect upon other people's minds and lives, just through being authoritative. So there's this presupposition brought about by the fact that you're in this I am the higher, I'm channeling this higher force, yes, which places you up there. And you're encouraging people to trust you because you've got this authority. And you're not even providing, so far, a critical point of view here. You've only got 43 videos on this channel, therefore, I don't think that if you're doing like 43 11.45 minute videos, 11 minutes and 45 second videos, can you really be going into sufficient depth about all the philosophical basis of your reasoning point of view in that time? I don't think so. I've got over 1,700, and I think I've gone into quite reasonable depth throughout my history here as to where I'm coming from. This guy has not.
always have. Therefore, you may change form, but you will always exist in some way, shape, or form. Because isness is the only quality that existence has. It does not...
Okay, alright. Basically, what he's saying is that I'm a dinosaur. Not that I'm, because I'm getting older, okay? But I'm actually a dinosaur because the isness of the molecules that was in the dinosaur's body is within me. Okay, I mean, maybe I've eaten some food which had some of the molecules in it, or some of the elemental chemicals of like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and the rest of it that was breathed in by a dinosaur millions of years ago. Okay, so he's trying to tell me I am actually the same dinosaur from millions and millions of years ago. Hmm? That's what he's actually saying. Not that I'm an individual, separate person who has a certain way of thinking and looking at the world and points of view and perspectives and personality and character, and it's that which carries on, alright? Because he's now confusing, like, too many ideas all in one go and putting it into this woolly, vague bullshit that he's calling isness. Isness, yes, yeah, fuck off. Just
know how to become non-existence. Non-existence is already full of all the things that will never exist, and there is no room in non-existence for that which does exist.
So, basically, you're lying straight out, because essentially, I, as the individual that I am with my personality, my mentality, my views, my values, my experiences, might not carry on. My body might. Okay, the things which don't exist are things which don't exist. Full stop. You can't... Just... Why doesn't this man just shut the fuck up?
That which exists only has one quality, to be, and thus that is the only thing it will always be. So if you do exist, you always will.
But he's also said, like, in different types and different forms and all the rest of it. So essentially, what he's actually saying is, you don't exist. Maybe your body, you know, the chemicals of your body may exist, but you won't, so fuck you. But he's saying it in this, like, really stupid way to make it seem like, oh yeah, life is really eternal, when basically he's like, oh. Wouldn't it be nice just to have people in the New Age movement who could understand English and to be able to communicate in English, rather than to talk into this stupid, quasi-spiritual doublespeak? Now, if you want to use what he's saying in some kind of religious way, then that's up to you, but that would be a religion, and that would not be a fact. But be careful of these people who have placed themselves in positions of authority like this. It really is scary at times.
So, relax.
Relax.
Law number 2. The one is the all, and the all are the one. And this simply means that all of the pieces together form the one. And the one is the one, but knows itself simultaneously as all the pieces. What this means is that creation is...
What this means is that different beings that have consciousness are different beings that have consciousness. And yes, they're also a part of the universe, yes. But on the other hand, they're still individual, independent creatures. That's all it means. Okay? I am not my cat, and my cat is not me. And maybe that's a good thing.
Not separate from the Creator, but is made of the Creator, and that there is no outside to it. Everything that is, every discrete person, place, thing, every discrete concept, every discrete part is a part of one same whole, and also, holographically, every single part is the whole, expressing...
Okay, the holographic view of the universe is still hypothetical. It suggests that something may have the wisdom or some kind of message or conceptualization of other things that it is a part of. But this is still rather unknown or ununderstood. On the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog, there was one entry that talked about something which came out of quantum physics, I think it was, which suggested that the entire physical universe was essentially a bit like either a black hole or a supernova and had its own event horizon. And all the information, so in accordance with this one particular point of view of what is within the event horizon, was somehow expressed on the surface of the event horizon of the expanding universe. So there are some some scientists of some types who have done some weird equations which suggest that information, including that which relates to existence, shape, form, structure, and possibly even character and personality, could possibly be preserved at some other place within the universe rather than just within the physical. Okay? Such as the event horizon of the entire universe. But that is still rather hypothetical rather than necessarily fixed. Okay, there may be equations which can demonstrate that, but that's still a bit difficult for us to grasp, realistically speaking. Yes, there may be an argument to say that consciousness essentially has some kind of creative effect, but we still are unsure of that. Of course, there's all the mention of the Schrodinger's cat experiments, and also the double slit experiments and all the rest of that. But essentially, they make us want to ask questions and don't necessarily provide all of the answers. So it's an interesting hypothetical spiritual point of view, but it is not a hard and fast fact.
Itself as a part of the whole. So the second law, the one is all, the all are one. Law.
Why do you call this a law?
3. What you put out is what you get back. Very simple. The energy you give off, based on your beliefs, your emotions, your behaviors, the vibrational frequency you give off is what determines the kind of reality experience you have. Because
yeah, to a certain extent, the way that you think would have some kind of bearing or effect upon the outside world, but it certainly won't give you the various things that your audience are probably hoping for, such as health, wealth, and sex. Possibly also property, a nice boat, and lots of other cool toys. So I think that this is, again, the wrong kind of message because you're selling a variety of hope which won't necessarily be totally fulfilled. And therefore, people need to be critical of the kind of things that you say, or to take what you say in a skeptical or an allegorical way. And if that isn't done, then essentially you're basically being a bit dangerous.
Physical reality doesn't exist except as a reflection of what you strongly believe is true for you.
That's just bullshit. I don't really need to go into that at all.
That is all physical reality is. It is literally like a mirror.
So, if I was to kick him in the head, that would be because he has been willing me to kick him in the head. Is that real? Did I get that right? If I go out and break someone's neck, okay, it's because they were putting it out in the universe. It's not because I'd done something wrong. No. It's because they were putting it out into the universe because they were believing in a certain way.
If you are looking in a mirror and you see your face with a frown on it, you know that you don't go over to the mirror and try to force the reflection to smile. You know that if you want to see the reflection smile, you must smile first. There is no way to change the reflection without you smiling first.
That's the way that mirrors work. Sorry, but that's the way that mirrors work. It's a mirror, okay? The universe is not necessarily like a mirror.
But you can also conversely understand that when you decide to smile, the reflection has no choice but to return the smile because it doesn't have a mind of its own. So the idea to understand is that physical reality very much is really like a mirror. It will
No, you haven't explained that at all.
not change until you do first.
Okay. If you live a better quality of life, meeting a better quality of people, going out to better qualities of environments, doing work which you feel you are best suited to do, then you're more likely to have a better quality of results. That's nothing to do with sort of changing internally so the universe will then smile back at you.
But if you do, it has no choice but to follow suit because it is only a reflection of what you have put out. Law number 4. Change is the only constant, and everything changes except the first 3 laws.
Why don't people see how logically flawed that is? I mean, like, everything changes. Yeah, but what he's saying is that you have the power over changing. It's not a question of now accept the fact there's going to be changes. It's a question of,
That is it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Every experience you have ever had, are having now, or will ever have, is based on a combination of these 4 laws to varying degrees.
4.
That's it. Now, the idea to understand, again, is that when you allow yourself to make choices, then your choices are...
I don't think you allow yourself to make choices. I think you end up in a situation whereby you have to make a choice. It's not a question of allowing yourself or giving yourself permission, for Christ's sakes.
On your motivation. And your motivation is based on your definitions. This is the other way to explain the 3-part process. Your behavior, your choices, are based on your motivations, your emotions, which stem from your definitions, which are your beliefs.
Yeah, the way that you think affects the way that you are. And therefore, perpetual re-education, which is what life is about anyway, is essential. Because that's called growing up. So, what's so new about that? Hey, you exist, and you've got to grow up. Oh my word! Channeled from the other ends of the universe, man.
So anytime you are making a choice, it is always because you have been motivated to make that choice. Motivation only has 2 parts to it.
Oh, but I really can't take this anymore. I mean, obviously I can see precisely why all kinds of people in the world hate people who are in the New Age movement, because there's people like that who are talking quite so much shit. Now, I understand that there are people in the world who actually need to listen to something which is comforting and positive, but also sometimes that information which is comforting and positive can sometimes be a bit detrimental if it's done in the wrong way. Alright, there's no real clauses in what he's saying. Alright, he's just like, this is the way it is. I am the person of authority. I am channeling the, whatever the fuck it's called. This is bad. And it's not very intelligent. And it's... I don't think it's very helpful. I think I'll leave it at that.